Hey y'all, it is Moonlight Cowboy again, and today we're going to learn how to do a build on the rocks. And by what I mean on the rocks, if you see there, the glass is actually merged into the rocks. I can't say that I'm the first one to come out with any kind of video relating to this, but I definitely discovered it about the same time that everybody else did, this trick with the new angled walls. That being said, I haven't seen anybody really do a major build with this, so I want to do kind of a clean build. And also, my good friend Silver Bunny says she doesn't find a lot of really great builds over here at the new waterfall. So let's get started. So I'm going to show you the kind of the process here first. Now, with these new angled walls, it doesn't mean that you can just get them to go straight into the rocks. But you can get them to nudge in there. That's because those slant angled walls are really forgiving when it comes to clipping. And I'm gonna come out with a tutorial as well if I haven't already by the time this is released on kind of some of the tricks with those new angle walls because it's not just about clipping in the walls, right? So that being said, if you notice, I got it to be about the right height to where the roof will actually lay flat here and merge into the rocks. It takes a lot of work to make this actually happen. It's not just about clipping them in, because then how do you get a roof on there, right? So, alternatively, you could use like a foundation there, but we're not going to do that in this build. We're going to go full Monty with this and try and get that to happen, where we get the roofs to kind of look like they're part of the cliff a little bit, to the best of our abilities. So what we're doing now, we got one wall in, sort of, right? The thing about these cliffs is they're going to be more on your terms than they will be on, or more on their terms than they will be on your terms, right? So with what I mean by that is that doesn't mean you're just going to be able to put a wall exactly where you want to. So if you notice, I'm kind of catwalking off of these and with these foundations to try and get them in a spot where I know, or at least I have a really good suspicion that I'll be able to get some walls to stick in there, some of the angled walls. So I keep adjusting these. And wherever you build, you'll probably need to kind of do the same thing because what I'm looking for is like a part of the rocks that is like going to go up straight and not kind of curve in, curve out, because then you're not going to get a really good seal on that wall. But anyways, yeah, that part takes a little bit of time, and then even when you do find that spot, then you're going to probably have to still do a little bit of finagling. It may limit to how high or how tall or the size of your build altogether. But as we see here, I think I found the sweet spot right there. Looks pretty good. Yep. So again, I can kind of get the nose in on those angled walls. And if I haven't already explained, you can turn. There's two sets of the new angled walls. One of them is the Blue Ridge set, which I use quite often, and then it's the other new set that just came out right after the Blue Ridge set. Both those angled walls you'll be able to do this trick with, which is really cool. So because I measured that roof out, see it's nice and flush with the rock. That's because I kept that build at just the right height. So that way it kind of overlaps the rock. And I'm going to use grass roofs because I kind of want it to blend into the surroundings up there. There is that dead guy there. But with the way we're doing our build, he'll be covered up mostly, even when he spawns in. So he's not really going to be a hassle for me. So we got two of our wall sets in, and to separate the foundations like I did, all I did was break the bottom half wall, and I was able to unhook the foundation from there. But again, found another spot where I could do this at. But in this spot, yeah, as you see, there's not really any troubles, and this is kind of going to be the feature part of my build right there because it faces the waterfall when you walk in the house. That's kind of my intention, so that's going to actually work out really nice for me. One thing, based on what we did here, I want to go ahead and remove those walls now that I got that in. And the reason for that is I don't want just the glass walls to be in. I want to do like a wall merge. So it looks like just a little bit of the glass walls went in. So to do that wall merge, I basically double walled here. And then I'm adding another angled wall with these brick angle walls. If you do double wall, you can double wall those two, as you see right there, as long as you destroy the brick. And then I just turn them into something that's not brick, so it doesn't have an outline on it when I break it. It turns completely like intangible essentially. And then I turn those walls down there into the abandoned mine set. So that way, those also turn intangible. Those are great wall set for this. If you don't have them, you could have alternatively used the just do the angled wall trick and use 3 sets of angled walls going up and then turn them into half walls. But anyways, as you see, I'm destroying those angled walls. The ones there, those are the casino set, and I like those because they don't have like this weird lipping over the top. They're just flat, and that's nice for me. So now that I have that into place, see, I kept that foundation there. So, and then this is another trick, real quick. You can use your camp device to place foundations through rocks that you would normally struggle with by placing it on the edge. But that I have a tutorial on that if you're interested in seeing that. It's an extremely helpful piece of kit for your arsenal of building. So as you see now, I put those walls back as angled walls and then change them. And then this is kind of going to be the theme of what we're looking at today. You're gonna see sometimes you can't grab those walls, those upper walls. So I just went ahead and repaired the camp, so that way it's still back over there. But anyways, as you're gonna see a lot of this like wall merging slash getting these walls to clip into the rock, and it does create a really cool effect once we're all done. At least I think so. And this isn't just for people who want to, build this build. Really, this build was just more or less built to demonstrate this really cool new trick that we can do. Because when I first started building, I really wanted to clip into rocks, and the only way you could do it was with foundations before. So a lot of my old builds had it was like just foundations sticking out, and then I did walls, and it just doesn't look as cool. All right, so now that we got that into place, I want to get my roofs, some of them at least, in order. So to snap roofs through other roofs, all you have to do is really destroy them, and I'm going to demonstrate that here. I mean, I've already started the process of getting my roofs like in kind of wonky places. Reason for that is the walls are going to be in wonky places, so it's not going to be like this pattern, this perfect like square on square on square. And part of that is going to create a really cool aesthetic, but it really works best when you're using roofs like these because then you're not going to see any flickering. I do end up doing double roofs on these, but I don't include it in the video. And the real reason for that, in all honesty, was I already have a tutorial on how to do double roofs. Actually, I have a couple of tutorials on double roofing, and I have a ton of tutorials on just like really cool tricks you can do with roofs. So again, highly encourage you to check that out. But that being said, what we're doing here is I'm positioning the roofs by moving and using those catwalks to get it as close to that tree as possible. So I used a catwalk like U that I made, so that way I got it right there. And then see, I could repair those roofs. See, now they're kind of at off angle, but because of the roof style, it really you don't really notice it. It looks really cool, and actually it breaks up that line between the roofs too, so it looks a little bit more natural. And then once you have put your roofs into place, you can just change the angle of your roof and then remove those walls. All right, so now that I have removed all the walls from there, or, all the foundations, excuse me, don't remove your walls if you work this hard for them. I want to find one more spot to kind of get it to connect in. So we're going to start looking for that spot over here. Again, a lot of this is just going to be touch and go, see where you can get it to stick. So we're again using the catwalks to put the foundations at kind of weird spots, as you see. And sometimes, if you really want to get your walls in and your foundations will not go, you can always try and catwalk your walls in too instead of using the foundations. I was being stubborn here to try and get my catwalks to go over to that other wall. So instead, what I decided to do now is I went ahead and, for now, since I know I can get that wall back in there, I want to do another one of those wall merges. So I'm going to use a catwalk to flip the wall around. And then as you see, I can just put another double wall. This is a nice easy double wall trick when you don't have a ton of space. Basically, I'm doing a similar process to the last time when I did this double wall trick. So I destroyed the angled wall up top. I double walled it. I'm now turning those double walls into the abandoned mindset, turning those into the horizontal version, and then I can put my angled walls into place, as you see right here. So I'm just going to get my thing right back there. And because those walls, you can snap things through those walls when they're broken. This is pretty easy to do. Again, you will need to have those angled walls, the Blue Ridge, and then the other new set that just came out in order to do this trick. So if you're writing me and you're like, well, I didn't go out and buy those new walls. I didn't think they were that important, even though like everybody kept saying that they're like the revolutionary. Then yeah, you might want to go get them because you won't be able to merge the the half walls or the angled walls into the walls like you're seeing in this video. So like I was saying before, you can use catwalks too to do some double wall action because I want to get this as close to this as possible as well. And I just was really struggling to get the foundations to be there. They just didn't want to place no matter what I did. So what I did is I placed a wall there first, and then I put another wall there. And the reason I did it like that is so I could flip that wall around, because now I'm going to catwalk right back to it, and I'm going to add another wall. And because I did it like that, and I did it from the bottom, I was able to do a double wall. So this time I'm going to do the double wall first, and then put the angled walls into place because I already know that they'll go in here. So after I destroy those walls because they're angled, or they're not angled, excuse me, they're the horizontal version, I already know I can slap these angled walls or slant walls into place and turn those into glass walls. And then I've got yet another set of walls that have where they're kind of merged into the cliff. But because of that lip up there, I'm not going to be able to go any higher than this. So, because it kind of, see what I was talking about with the rocks, they kind of go up and in. So then I won't have really a flush line. So with that said, I'm going to just go over here and do a similar thing with the double walling. But then I'm going to create one more wall that intersects with the cliff using that same process. So I did the double wall here. I'm going to destroy that. I'm skipping through some of this because, again, it's a lot of the same repeat process. And notice I'm going to go just a little bit further off with my catwalks. And because I got really lucky with the placement here, I was able to just catwalk, and it's like hugging that cliff. And then boom. I was able to get it just close enough to where I can get those walls to intersect yet again. So really happy with that. Yeah, they're in there like swimwear, right? So the catch with this too, and you're going to see here in a minute, to roof that so there's not a gap, you're going to probably have to do some custom roof action. I'll show you how I put the roof to cover that spot as close to it as I can. When you're on the inside or the outside, you don't see any light gaps. I'm sure that it's a touch off the cliff, but you can't. I looked. I'm kind of a perfectionist. I couldn't see any of the gaps in the roof when I put this in. But anyways, that's how that looked. So if you notice right here, I'm kind of adjusting where the foundation is, and I did this about 6 or 7 times to get the right distance. So I'm just going to put a wall over here, a free place one using these catwalks. And let's see how close I can get it to it. See, if you notice, it's not a perfect quarter length off of those walls. Oh. There we go. Got it going the right way this time. It'll be easier to try and get it into the there we go. Nope. Darn. So like I was saying before, it is a lot of touch and go with this. And I try it multiple times, and I'll try it from different angles too to see if I can get it in. So just because you angle it up and then it goes down doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to work. So in that case, it did not. So now I'm going to adjust my foundation a little bit more. I'm going to take it back a hair and see if that's enough. Again, I want to get it to it as close as possible. That way, I know that I did my damnedest to get get that roof basically hugging, possibly intersecting a little bit into the cliff. Because the roofs, if you angle them in and then flatten them, you do have some advantages when it comes to getting them to kind of clip into the rocks as well. Now, let's see how this worked. Shove that in at an angle, hopefully. Look at that. And see, it clipped into the rock a little bit. On that side, you can probably see a little bit, but there's no light gap through there. And part of that is because of the seal it has into the wall. So I got pretty lucky with that spot. But that's how I covered that up with a roof. And again, I can destroy that roof up there and then put a custom roof in on that as well. So now we're doing that trick again, where I'm just going to add walls in place. This time though, because of the way I did it, I only had to use half walls. I didn't have to use the angled wall trick now, because that's just your typical roof or wall merge. And I want to do that again. This time I'm going to do it with the angled walls. Now I did this a little bit differently. Instead of destroying all the other walls or changing them into different types of walls, you can use these new slant walls or any slant walls, in fact, to get them into place and kind of clip into regular walls. And then as long as you have the new angled walls, you can then turn those into regular walls instead of those like angled slant walls, right? See, just like I did there. And I didn't have to like remove those other walls this time. See, pretty easy. And once I got that into place with the brick one, I just destroyed it so I could then double wall it. This way I didn't have to take things down. So if you notice, each time I've done this double wall trick, I've tried to do it kind of a different way so you can see all of the ways that you can use these wall merges. So once I got that into place, we'll turn those back into half walls from angled. And they can be a little finicky to do. Like if you see, I hate it when I have to, it accidentally makes me jump. I'm sure it happens to everybody that builds. So especially when you're kind of fast with it, or you at least you think you're fast until you jump, and then you took longer than you were supposed to. So frustrating. Anyway, so I got my walls into place there, and I'm just turning the angled walls again back into the half walls. And I decided to add a third layer here. So with that third layer, I'm going to kind of stagger the height. It's going to look like it goes up like steps kind of on that side. You'll see what it looks like here in a bit. But I thought it was a cool way to do like a custom look to this camp. I didn't want it to be like, I want it to be blocky, but I wanted to still break up the monotony of just like all flat or like 2 levels. So I did like 3 levels. Anywho, getting my walls back into place again. And don't worry, I'm not going to do the entire build like from start to finish on this. And the reason being is really once you've figured out all the different ways you can do these wall merges, especially with these new angled walls, you kind of got to get it at that point. You should be able to figure it out. Like, oh, okay, well, this next wall, I guess I'm going to have to do the whole thing with the angled thing that he just showed me 4 times, or maybe if this isn't working, I'll try it a different way. So that's kind of the premise of this. And again, even though this is a build tutorial from, my most recent build that I published, this is more of a tutorial on how to do like merging into rocks and also merging into potentially like pre-existing structures, right? So, and I did a tutorial not too long ago where I had to use those same walls to clip into the monorail. Kind of the same process, basically. And he got that really nice seal in the monorail. For anybody who was crazy enough to attempt that, my condolences. But as you see, I got my roof. Notice I destroyed the one roof and I was able to snap the other roof into place. So that way, even though we know that it's not exactly, in line with the other walls, you can't tell because I use the grass roofs. Now what I want to do is I'm going to start creating this little creating my steps going up like for roofing purposes. So I use the half brick wall, destroyed it, and then I can catwalk back in on it from the other side and add my wall again. So then I've got a double wall there. Now, this is kind of the last one I'm going to show you that I did. This one was a little bit different. So on this, because I wanted to put the glass in the middle of two walls that I'd already placed, in order to get these half walls to go intangible, like the other, like the abandoned mindset, I just turned them back into angled walls to make sure that that effect happened, so I can snap walls into place here, which I'm going to be able to do in a second. And if you notice here, something that I like to do, I want to make sure they're going in the right direction before I place them because that'll look a little awkward. So I know that the glass is closest to the outside, so I flip them around that way so that way they're all even. And like always, just take my angled roof repair and turn it into the new slant set, and then I can turn that into a half wall. And yeah, that's coming out to look pretty good. And of course, most of the time you're going to be able to just do this trick, which is taking two brick or red barn doorways and just turning those into whatever kind of wall you want in order to do the double wall. So even these simple tricks, I still use them. They very much come in handy. Not everything that I do is like mega ultra complicated. It seems like it sometimes. Um, But yeah, I mean, most of the time you could probably just get away with doing the double walls. It's just when you start getting into like really tight spots or trying to merge into like cliffs like I'm doing, then you should, then sometimes you got to know that trickery, right? And that's kind of the final result. Notice I did the floors last. I didn't even put them in yet because once I put them in, I can just kind of snap them through. They don't have to be attached to any walls, right? And this was the final result. I was thrilled with the way that this came out, especially with the views of the waterfall from inside. I thought that was a really special experience. So I really hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you end up building something like this or building into the cliff or any pre existing structure. Thank you all so much. Have a blessed day and stay safe out there.